Hello, I'm Jeff Smith. In this recording I'm going to show you how to use TACTRACKER's navigation rally software. Now whether you call them navigation rallies, log trials or predicted log events, TACTRACKER's new software will help revolutionize the way you run these events. Now there's two parts to working with the software. The first part occurs before the day where we define the course and the scoring gates. The second part occurs on the day where we hand the trackers out to each contestant, and then after the event we load the data into the software to generate the results. So let's start from scratch and define a new course before the event occurs, and then we'll see what happens when we load the data in. For this demonstration we're going to use an event that actually occurred at Sandringham Yacht Club called the Clipsal Investigator. Now, as with most navigation rallies, the course is defined by a starting datum, and then from that point we travel a distance in nautical miles at a certain direction, so 245 degrees, and then there's a new bearing, a new distance, a new bearing, a new distance, and so forth until we complete the course. So let's enter this course now into TACTRACKER. In TACTRACKER, I go to the Edit Navigation Rally tab to create a new rally event. Now this tab will only be available if I have a navigation rally license. Okay, here to find the date. I can use this drop down here. Now in fact this event occurred in the past. That won't be the case for your events, of course. And the time was 10 o'clock. We'll talk a little bit about the event start time later. And I also find it convenient to choose a landmark that's convenient, and I'll also describe this later as well. But for now we'll just say create event, and this is creating a new rally event starting at 10 AM on Saturday the 6th of June, and we have a start and a finish, which have conveniently been placed just at the landmark that I selected before. Now the first thing I need to do is to refine the start point to the one that was actually defined in the document. So if I bring up my document here, my start was at 37 degrees 56.43 minutes south, and at 1:44 and 59.53 minutes east. So I say apply. Now TACTRACKER can accept coordinates in pure decimal form, and that's the way it's displayed here, or in decimal minute form as I entered the data before. So we can see there's the start locations plotted on the screen. From this point on I'll begin to add turns for each of the legs of the course. Okay, so to do that I'll go to this Add Turn button, click Turn, and I just get a default leg of 1 nautical mile at 45 degrees. Now that's wrong, so I can change that to the one that was specified to, it was 0.64 nautical miles, and it was 245 degrees, and apply. And then I add another turn, and this was 1.29 nautical miles at 360 degrees. Apply, add another turn. This one was 2.32 nautical miles at 263 degrees. Apply. Now as you can see, as I add the turns, my course is starting to be laid out, and then I've got this line to the finish which is wrong, but I'll just ignore that for the moment. Let's add another one. This is 1.5 nautical miles at 60 degrees. Apply. Add another one. 0.6 nautical miles. I'm just reading off the sheet. Of course, 321 degrees. Apply. Okay, and I'll just continue this now to the finish. Okay, I'm nearly done now. Now for the last one, rather than adding a turn, I'll just edit the finish, which currently you see is pointing back to the starting position. In fact, if the finish is at the start, I can just click here, finish at start, and that will automatically align the finish at the start line like that. But in this case, the finish is not at the start, so what I need to do is change it to its actual setting, which is 1.3 nautical miles at 335 degrees. And that is the course. Okay, so let's save that, and I can continue to edit this at my leisure. Now, the next thing to discuss is the start time and the interval, which is defined up here. Okay, so we have this course starting at 10 o'clock on the Saturday, and I'm going to define an interval of 2 minutes. So what that means is that each boat will be allocated a 2-minute slot from that 10 o'clock start time. I'd recommend that the first boat would leave at 10:02. That means that if the boat's a little bit early, it's still beginning after the start, the nominated start. Now, no boat is allowed to cross the line after that 10 o'clock start unless they're actually starting, because they will be recorded as starting by the software if they happen to cross the line after the 10 a.m. Before 10 a.m. they can do as many practice runs as they like. After 10 a.m. they need to keep away from the start line unless they're actually starting. Now, we don't actually have to enter the boat's start times into the software. The software will just align their start with the nearest 2-minute interval. So we'll assume that boats will attempt to start according to their allocated slot, and if they're a few seconds late or early, they'll be scored a penalty accordingly, according to the exact 2-minute interval which they're matched up with. So we can select an interval of 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 minute, or we can say free, and free is ideal for social events where we might, for example, be going on a cruise, and we just say, well, on the way, why don't you try doing this course and we'll give you a prize. Well, we don't want to be allocating people fixed start times because that's inconvenient. We just say free and they can start whenever they like. At the time they cross the line, TACTracker will record their start and take it from there. So this is something that's really only possible with TACTracker. You couldn't have this so conveniently done with volunteers standing at checkpoints. For this event, we'll set it at 2 minutes. So that's looking great. Well, now the course is defined, I want to just show you how easy it is to adjust the course or to fix up mistakes that you might have made. So we can edit any of these points. So for example, if point 5 is wrong, if that distance was wrong, it should be 0.7, for example. I can just change that, hit apply, and we can see it moved here. Similarly, I could change the bearing. I can also lay it graphically, so I click lay, and then just move the cursor over and just move it to wherever I click like that. Okay, and then I can also adjust the latitude and longitude. So it's very easy to edit or adjust the points. I can delete turn points, I can add new turn points anywhere in the course. Now, before we go ahead and finish, we need to define the scoring gates which the boats must pass through in order to be scored. The first gate occurs at the start line, so we'll just click start and say add gate, and we'll zoom up there. I'm dragging with mouse button 2 and zooming in with the mouse wheel. Right, so we can see this gate is 0.313 meters, nautical miles from the start. If we just bring that back to 0 and put the start gate at the start, the length of the gate is 0.1 nautical miles, which is fine. Okay, now that's one way to define the gate. I might also be interested in perhaps if I had people viewing the start line as well. You might be wanting to have one point at a landmark like that and another point at a known bearing. In this case, the landmark was this coordinate here. I could type in a coordinate, and the bearing was 331. Let's make that 332 degrees. Okay, so that's an alternative way to define a gate. Alright, so I can add more gates if I wish, like that. Or I can select another leg, say this time leg 1, and I add a gate to that. Okay. So, and I can continue to go around the course here, say leg 4, add a gate, add another gate, add another gate. Okay. You can see that by default The gates are 0.13 nautical miles from the turn. That's to meet the minimum turn distance. You can adjust any of the parameters of the gate. You can lay them graphically as well. So if I want a gate like that, I can do it. Obviously, it's a bit suspect, so we'll just fix that like that. Finally, let's lay a finish line. So we'll come down here to the last leg. I'll add a gate to that, and to put that at the finish, I just need to make the distance from the turn the same as the length of that leg, that last leg, which was 1.3 nautical miles. So let's just apply that, and then we have a finish. Right, okay, so I think we're pretty much ready to go. Now these aren't the gates that were actually specified this course, so I will adjust them later. Save that. Now of course, it'd be really good to see this this course against actual terrain, so we know that we're not trying to sail up onto the beach. To do that, we can say send to Google Earth. Now you can install Google Earth from earth.google.com. It's a free software. And here it is inside Google Earth. You can see the course has been plotted. We're starting here, down here, just outside Sandringham Yacht Club, and making our way up to Williamstown. And you can also see that the gates that I defined are all there. Fantastic. Returning now to TAC Tracker, you'll notice that these landmarks here, for example this one here, Greenpoint Monument, Sandringham, were very useful for helping to lay the course and also for identifying the start location when I first created the event. Let's look at how we create those landmarks. Well, we go up to the settings dialog here, and here we can see a table of the various landmarks that have been previously defined. We can add a new landmark by defining the name, the latitude and longitude coordinates, and a colour, and then just clicking add. They'll be saved permanently in TAC Tracker, and they'll appear whenever we look at the area in which landmark exists. Now we can also define a new landmark by importing place marks from Google Earth. Let me just show you how to do that. So returning to Google Earth, I spy the landmark that I wish to define, and I click this little pin icon here, which creates, in Google Earth terms, as a place mark, and I can locate that on top of the landmark that I'm interested in. We can give it a name here. In this case it's the Greenpoint Monument, and save that. Alright, now that'll appear here in the places table on the left of Google Earth. I can save that. Oh no, I didn't want to save it to my places. I beg your pardon. I just moved it. I want to save the place as, and in this case I want to save it as a KML file. I'll save that into my documents, and then we can return to TAC Tracker. Great, so back in TAC Tracker, I just need to click the import place marks, click on the file that I saved, and that gets added to this table here. Here it is. And we can see it right here in TAC Tracker as well. Now the final thing that we want to do before the big day of the event is to pre-load the metadata into the GPSs to specify for each boat the boat name, the skipper, and importantly the speed at which they've nominated at which they wish to complete the event. For example, this boat wishes to complete the event at 10 knots. Boats can specify different speeds. We save that data onto the GPS itself so that when the day comes and we load the data in, we have everything we need to automatically load the tracks and compute the scores. Okay, now make sure that you've saved the course from the event here. That appears in this local tab, so you should be able to at any time, if you've gone away from it, just click on Saturday 6th Investigator or whichever the particular event is that you've created, and it will reappear. So that's how you restore it. Okay, so let's fast forward to the big day of the event and start loading tracks in, real tracks that we had recorded for this particular event that I've defined. Okay, the big day has arrived. We've preloaded the trackers with their boat and speed information. We've handed them out to all the competitors. The competitors have navigated the course, and now they're handing back the trackers to you, the event official. So I'm going to simulate the loading of the tracker from the GPSs back into TacTracker by dragging track files into the load file button here. And here we've just loaded the first track into the library. Now you notice that the track gets automatically loaded into this event, and it gets matched up by the date and time that was saved for the event and the date and time recorded in the track. So for this one, Bacardi, we can see this is the course he travelled. Down here you can see the time of day as he travelled the course. Okay, let's load another one. Okay, in this case we've got Bad Habits. Okay, now to see all the boats and to see their scores, I can go to the local tab and click on the event. That'll load everything in, so now I've got both tracks, Bacardi and Bad Habits. This is how they followed each other around the course. Bacardi must have been going faster, as you can see. We can look at their results, and if I can scroll this across and scroll this up. Okay, we can sort by score, and we can see that this is the final score. The start gate, estimated time of arrival, and the actual. So Bacardi scored 9 points for his start. Bad Habits scored 9. Bacardi scored 43 points for his particular start, and so forth for each of the gates. Okay, let's continue to add the rest of the tracks. Great, I now have all 20 competitors' tracks loaded. We can play the event through, and if I just click play here, it'll play at 4 times real-time speed. Of course, we might want to zoom up to see what's happening. We can have this playing on the big screen in the clubhouse after the event while people watch over a beer. And of course the results are all here. I can sort by score and see the winner was Wildfire, closely followed by Namu, and we can closely look at all the scores to see exactly how each boat fared. There's also some other tools, like for example speed charts. Now that's a bit busy, but I can stretch it out, and I can also take boats off the chart by unticking here. So I think this is a great tool for giving quick feedback after the event and adding interest as well. And not only that, people who weren't there or people who'd like to have a look later can relive the event if you publish it online. So with the Navigation Rally license, you get the ability to publish your rally online within TacTracker. You can include some text describing what happened and maybe some stories. You can include pictures, and people can view the race again by clicking this View Race button, and they'll get all the scores, and they can replay the race exactly as I'm showing here. So thank you very much. This is going to conclude the video. I think you've seen that the process is quite simple and straightforward to define the course. On the day, all that's needed to do is really just load the data in, and the scores are all automatically computed. It requires much less setup, far fewer volunteers, and I think this is really going to revolutionise the sport of navigation rallies and help perhaps instill new interest and maybe revitalise it. So I hope that happens. Thanks very much for your attention.